out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. So let's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. Or it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Welcome to Let's Get To, the baseball podcast from the fans' perspective. Who's on first? The Let's Get To Local 9, brought to you by Zoomer Sport.
So we are super excited to welcome to our Who's on First segment, Kevin Watterson. He is the president of the Keene Swamp Bats. Swamp Bats, I sound like I'm from your neck of the woods with that one, Kevin. How's it going?
Going well as it can during this era of COVID.
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting. And, I don't know how much you're following it, but we actually had breaking news right before you came on that the president of minor league baseball has resigned, which is throws everything a little bit into flux. But I wanted to start a little bit about you. How did you first get interested in the game of baseball and then end up being president for one of the most successful teams and one of the best collegiate wood bat leagues there is?
Interesting. I come from a fairly large blue-collar family. My dad coached some minor league baseball. When I was a kid, I actually was born in Canada when he was coaching up there. So we all were heavily involved in the game. And then I went to a small D2 school in Florida after graduating from Phillips Exeter Academy. And a guy named Bill Livesey, who's a legend in the country collegiately. I played for him for 4 years. And after I got out, but at that point, I got out at the same time Bill left to take over the Yankees. And he was the architect of those great Yankee teams. I mean, he signed Jeter and Williams and Posada, all those guys. So he's a special guy. He lives in Florida now and retired. So he talked me into doing some scouting for him early. So I did some bird dog scouting for the Yankees. And truthfully, wasn't what I thought it would be. Banging around in pastures throughout the state of Florida, trying to find the next whatever, wasn't what I had in mind. So, hey, I got out, got into private business. But I continued to coach, continued to build youth programs, sent a ton of guys into college baseball. And there came a time about 20 plus years ago when we said in Keene, New Hampshire, we need to do something. We need to raise the bar. So we went to all the pro scouts and they said, you really need to take a look at the New England Collegiate Baseball League. They're on fire. They put great players on the field, and it's something that we think you guys could do. So we applied. We got a franchise. The rest is history. And we've become, I want to call the yard marker today for the league. So we learn from the best, and many are learning from us today. But we continue. This is a passion for us. It's a labor of love.
And you guys are, before we kind of get into what it means to the community in New Hampshire around the ballpark, you guys are the New England Collegiate Baseball League is second really only the Cape Cod League as far as talent level. Can you speak to that, though? Because I think a lot of my listeners and my viewers who maybe grew up only going to major league games, there is really good baseball to be had in some of these collegiate summer league, some of these collegiate wood bat leagues.
It's a great point you make. The level of play on the field is unbelievable. And recently, the last 2 years, they've done studies of the leagues in the country. And as you point out, we have come out number 2 out of 80 leagues, out of 80, to the Cape. And the Cape, let's face it, the Cape's got 100 years tradition. I have nothing but good things to say about the Cape. Great league. But for us, our goal always was, baseball-wise, was to put pro-type talent on the field. So for me, where do you find pro-type talent? Hey, and for me, you find it in Florida, Texas, and California. And if you look at our rosters, I mean, really. I mean, I've had kids from Midland to TCU, you name it. They have great talent in Texas. And so if you look at our rosters, that's where our kids come from, because we want pro-type players. And unfortunately today, I only say this, most of the pro talent is at the D1 level. And that's not a knock on D2. I played there. It's not a knock on NAIA or JCs. But we have a heavy influence of D1 talent. And that's when our fans come to a game, I think it's why we draw 1,500 to 2,000 a night, because they recognize talent when they see it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about fans. And so I'll be completely transparent. When I started this show, I had only known about college summer leagues from the movie Summer Catch. And I grew up in Houston. I grew up at the Astrodome, fell in love with minor league baseball through my wife, who's a San Antonio girl, and then really kind of dove into collegiate wood bat last season and this season of the show. And what I've noticed is the connection to community seems to be stronger in these communities than it is for even affiliated minor league teams. Can you talk about how important the Swamp Bats are to that community?
Yeah, you make some interesting points, and it's interesting. I mean, our mantra is community wrapped in baseball, and we sell that every day. I will tell you, when we first started, we thought we were starting a baseball team, because we were baseball people.
Right.
We had great success on the field, sending teams to World Series. So we thought, hey, well, let's start this baseball thing. And year one, year two, I mean, we were drawing, seriously, a couple thousand people. They were just out for us. And all of a sudden we realized, there's a lot more going on in this community around us, and what people's expectations are for us than just baseball. And it became real apparent early on that if we just focused on baseball, we would have drawn those few hundred. It would have whittled down to those few hundred diehard baseball fans, But we really, hey, like everybody, we all live to create, and we wanted to create something special.
Yeah.
And so we're in the schools. We're doing reading programs. We're working with civic clubs. We're the number one event in this area over a 12-month period every year. I mean, we're a small town, 23,000 people. When you can draw 40,000 people over the course of 10 weeks, I mean, you're a serious player in that community, and we are.
No, absolutely. And speaking of community, as everybody, first I want to speak to your players, and I want to speak to your players through the lens of 2020. We all know that 2020 has been awful. I'm currently wearing my Trash Pandas Just Trash 2020 t-shirt. Really, just it's been awful. But talk about your players, because it's been a little tougher for them, because for so many of your players, this isn't just about summer baseball. It's about getting seen by a major league scout that maybe won't see them now.
I tell every fan, every club I speak to, to our family hosts, every one of our players is here for only one reason. It's the same reason. Every one of them wants to play pro baseball. Doesn't matter if it's the kid from Princeton University or the JC kid at Southwest Florida, or the guys that come from Vandy. The dream and the reason for being here is the same. They want to play pro ball. I mean, think about the sacrifice they make. They could be home. They could be eating mom's dinner. They could be with their girlfriend, but they are serious about their craft. And that's why they're here. So you ask about the impact, or you allude to it, of COVID on them this year. It's been devastating for many. When you are ready, this is your draft year, let's say, or you're getting ready knowing next year is your draft year, and you play 15 games. And all of a sudden you get a call from your summer league GM, someone like myself, we've shut it down. And you're looking around you saying, well, what was I doing? Or, where did my dream go? So, I feel for those kids, and I will be honest, hey, listen, we might as well let Major League Baseball take a hit while we're at it here. I mean, when they move the draft from 40 rounds down to 5, on top of everything else that just hit these young men. So 5 rounds. I mean, we're talking about a lot of guys that have played for us. I mean, we've put 26 kids into the big leagues, and a lot of them were from rounds 15 to 30. And now, then, in theory, they would never have gotten a shot. So I say shame on the owners, for making that decision. And we all know why they made it. One reason, that's about the money.
It's about the money.
So,
we've been under the premise of this show that Rob Manfred actually hates baseball. He just,
yeah.
You know, as we alluded to earlier, the Pat O'Connor being resigning as MILB president is because he knew his job was being eliminated. Like, but that's, you know, it dovetails into all of it. And, you know, one of the things that I thought about was, you know, just all the players now who then didn't make those first 5 rounds, who had to scramble to become undrafted free agents, knowing the money that they were going to make got drastically reduced, and they need that money to survive once they finally do enter the affiliated minor league system.
True. Jim, think about the impact that decision by MLB. Forget COVID. We can't criticize anybody on COVID, but MLB reducing to 5 rounds. How about the impact on amateur baseball in this country? You know, the AAUs, the travels, the showcases, who now, I mean, most of those players were prospective MLB, at least talent to be looked at. Today, I mean, to me, I think in many ways, we're playing with fire here. Did they just devastate amateur youth baseball?
It feels much like it's all part of that same looking for short-term gains, not caring what they're going to do long-term to, you know, I think because I think about y'all's community, I think about, and we're going to get to kind of a little bit more of that in a second, but I think about all the communities that were, and you're right, COVID is a thing. What I kind of feel like, so I'm a military veteran, so I take this pretty seriously. I feel like Manfred and the owners are a little similar to war criminals. They have taken a devastating stopping the country event and have used it to mine some of their own game, like pushing forward of cutting the draft to 5 rounds. They wanted to do that before COVID. They got the chance to do it now because no one was looking. And it really is, it could devastate immediately so many levels of the game, but it will also end up, I think, being long-term damaging to Major League Baseball 5-10 years from now.
Right. I agree. And let's face it also, colleges are going to take a hit. And we've already seen a handful of colleges doing away with programs.
Yep.
And baseball in the Southeast and maybe in Texas and a couple of other places is a profit-generating sport on campus, but not all around the country. So for those college presidents looking to cut costs, I mean, they're going to look at baseball. And if they're looking at baseball, given Title IX, softball's right in line to take the same hit. Right. And so, it's you know, and not only is it about the kids. How about the 42 minor league franchises that MLB's cutting, and how about what that does to those communities? How about the jobs? Yeah. How about the jobs that represents over 42 communities?
And no, I think you're exactly right. And I think the other thing too is we're sitting here on September the 8th. We're recording this. It is, these teams still don't know whether they're on the list to go bye-bye or not. And therefore they won't know, do they start selling advertising for next year? Do they still sell season tickets? It really has thrown everything out of whack, including the idea that, again, 5-10 years from now, what future Major League Baseball fan from Binghamton, New York, for example, which is a team that was on the list, what future fan are you not going to have now? Because I don't think people throw on a Saturday baseball game on national TV if they don't go to minor league or collegiate summer league games and become fans. I don't think the MLB is the NFL where people can just discover it at a national level.
I would agree with that. I mean, certainly we wept that on our level because we're so affordable. And we want everybody to be able to afford to come in. I think we whet the appetite of that average fan that I think you just alluded to. and they can come to our game every night, and maybe once a year they can go to Fenway Park,
Right.
and with a family of 4, drop $300. Let's be honest, maybe, and I could be light, but at least multiply that over and over and over, and that MLB owner, John Henry, is recognizing the profits.
No, I think that is the issue. I did want to go back to the Swamp Bats and kind of what you guys are dealing with, because, Major League Baseball can get away with shoving kind of a less quality product down our throats right now. I'm talking about rule changes, talking about the ramp up. That means basically the Fayetteville Woodpeckers are playing for my beloved Astros. If I hear the word Major League debut one more time, I might go lay in the middle of a highway. But you guys don't have a TV deal, so not having the ability to play games damages your ability to keep the gates open. But I know that you guys are working on a GoFundMe, so tell me a little bit about that and how can we help?
People say, well, Kevin, because we draw 1,500 to 2,000 to a game, so people think, we're nonprofit. We don't take any money, and all our money goes back into the facility. And most importantly, everything we do is about going first class. When we bring players in from the top elite programs in the country, we want to be proud of what we present to them. So we spare nothing when it comes to going first class. But that comes with a cost. And for that cost, we need a season. It's kind of like the grocery store down the street being open, but with no groceries on the shelves.
Right.
Our product was our season. Everything we did, from reading programs to camps, you name it, was about connecting to our season. Now, without a season, hey, we don't have any revenue. Yeah, we lost a few expenses, but they don't balance by any means.
Right.
So what we've done is we are running a GoFundMe program right now, and for the next over many weeks. And it's really whatever anyone can afford. And we will use those monies. A couple of reasons. We're gonna continue to invest in the facility. We're gonna build a pavilion. We're gonna buy a Major League Baseball tarp that we need. We'll buy a brand new turtle. Those are things we need to spend money on and survive. So we encourage. We've done a mailer. Hey, we're getting nice response from our fan base, former players. But again, we need this money because in order to sustain us, not just now, but next summer. Because Jim, I worry about next summer. Suppose someone says you can only have 800 fans next year. Now, I hope that doesn't happen, because our crowd is something to behold, and our players talk about our fans. But if that happens, that means that much less revenue from so many sources that we need to somehow cover. So these dollars are going to help. It's going to ensure us that we can have a season.
Well, again, we are going to continue to promote that. I think that once people hear about it, I think people are going to want to support, because I think that there's a lot of people who love this brand of baseball. Full disclosure, Let's Get To has already made a contribution, and we will continue to promote that on our social media. And we'll put a hot link on all this stuff. But Kevin, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show. We'll have you back on next year to preview the season, and we are going to come out to Keene to see you guys live next year. We're very excited.
We're looking forward to seeing it. Hey, give me some of those Texas studs.
You know what? I'll do all the recruiting for you. I sure can.
Hey, thanks for having me.